Welcome to my home garden. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of what I've got at home and some of the things I'm doing for the allotment. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my home garden, my home kitchen and also my allotment. So first of all, you can see that I've got my onions laid out here. I lifted these from up at the allotment yesterday, and I know it's going to be a nice few warm days, so I've laid them across my path to start to dry them out. I won't leave them out there indefinitely. I will be moving them into my summer house onto my racks. So, and as you can see, I've got some potatoes here. So I dug a couple of rows of potatoes yesterday with the help of my husband. So they're all pretty good. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going through them and picking out any that have got marks on them or that the fork went through. All the ones that are perfect, I'm going to pop into a hessian sack and I will store in a cool, dark place. The ones that are marked or have a fork through them in any way, I will take those out and I'll eat those first because they won't keep. So that's a job you can be doing. As we move over into the summer house, so my garlic is on racks, if you can see here. It's been drying beautifully. Now that's where my onions are going to go. So I've gradually just started to prepare them. So I've cut the tops off and I will just break the dirty dry leaves off and just cut the ends off with my scissors. So that's a job I will start to do now, and I will clear the rest of that rack ready for my onions to come in here. For me, this is the perfect place to have my onions because it stays dry and warm, and my onions and my garlic dry out really well, but I don't have room for both, so it's a good job that my garlic gets dug a little bit earlier, which is what I'm now moving to make way for my onions. So as we move over, so I picked up some Savoy cabbages from a local garden centre. Now I haven't got room to put them up at the allotment, and I actually feel they're a little bit small to put out just yet. They'll be too easy for the slugs to eat. So I'm potting them on into slightly bigger pots, and when they get a little bit bigger I will put them out somewhere. Now obviously when you put brassicas out you do need to cover them to protect them from the white cabbage butterfly and also white fly. So, but for the time being, they will stay here in my home garden, protected, obviously, so that I can put them out when they get a little bit bigger. Now, if we move over to the tomatoes, I've heard a lot of people that have been suffering from blight this year. So far, fingers crossed, I think I'm okay. But I do take a lot of precautions in this regard. As you can see, I remove all the side shoots and I remove the excessive foliage. Now that does one of two things. One, it helps protect you from blight because you get more air going around the plant and it's less likely to catch it, because the spores generally get attracted to the leaves. That's where it goes first, and then it spreads into the stalks and then into the fruit. So I've been very conscious to do that. They're also, as you can see, in a very sunny position, which is another thing that protects them from blight. And I get quite a bit of air around them. One, because of where I planted them, so I don't plant them too close together, so I don't plant them in squares like some people do, I plant them in a row. And two, that I have removed the leaves, so again, the air gets around them a lot more. There are other things you can do. Obviously make sure you feed them, because obviously a healthy plant is less likely to cause disease, and there are some sprays you can get online with blight. So if you think you're in a year where you might get it, just look some of them up and choose one that's right for you. So mine are starting to ripen, as you can see, and I've had a few, but I do think mine are behind this year, like a lot of people's, but we've still got plenty of time. It's not until the frost that you can lose your tomatoes, and in a garden like this you're more protected anyway, and I've picked tomatoes right up till Christmas outside in the open air. I couldn't do that up at the allotment, and that's one of the reasons why I don't have my tomatoes at the allotment, because I do think they are more susceptible to disease in the elements, so I always keep my tomatoes at home, and it's something that works really well for me. If you're able to do that, then I would recommend you do that. So as we move over, I've got a few more tomatoes over here that are doing really well as well, and like with the other ones, I've removed the leaves below each completed truss of fruit, which, like I say, really works well. So I can feel the air around me now, and the tomatoes exactly the same, so they'll be getting air around them, and that will be helping them flourish better. As you can see, I've got my chickens over here, so obviously they are something that adds a lot of pleasure to my garden. I love having my chickens. I call them my girls, and they give me eggs all throughout the year, and is something that I wouldn't be without. So if you're lucky enough to have chickens too, please let me know what chickens you've got. As we move over into the greenhouse. So I've got some chilli plants over here, got a couple of varieties with lots of lovely chilies on there, doing really, really well. So I always keep my chilies in my greenhouse because obviously they need to be kept a little bit warmer. I've just planted up my Christmas potatoes, which are there in tubs, which will be in there for the time being. I'll earth them up as they grow, just like you do on the plot, but obviously they need to be kept in a frost-free environment because in a few months it will be colder. And I've also got what I think is a melon plant. My father-in-law gave it to me a few months ago and no one's quite sure what it is. We thought it was a melon plant and now no one's quite sure, so we're just going to keep feeding it and looking after it and hoping that we get something out of it. So I really, really hope this has inspired you guys to get growing. If you've got any questions or queries, and if you're new to gardening, I'm always happy to help. And if you've got any hints and tips that I don't know about, that'd be really awesome too. So I look forward to hearing from you with any comments that you've got.